Before the sun rises, Filipino farmers are already awake. Their hands dig into the mud, their backs bend under the weight of baskets filled with crops. These hands feed the nation, yet the people behind them often go unseen. For centuries, Filipino farmers have carried the country's food on their shoulders, but behind the harvest lies a story of hardship, inequality, and resilience. Today, we explore their world, struggles, the challenges, and the lives that shape the food on our tables.
Filipino farmers are individuals or families who grow crops that feed the population and support the economy. Agriculture has been an important livelihood in the Philippines, especially in rural areas. Most farmers are small-scale producers who work on small plots of land using manual labor or basic tools. Many lack access to modern technology, irrigation, and financial resources. Because of this, their income is often uncertain and depends on weather conditions, crop prices, and market demands.
Agriculture plays a vital role in national development. It's not provide food but create employment opportunities and support rural economies. In the Philippines, millions of people depend on agriculture for their livelihood. Farmers produce staple crops like rice and corn, which are essential for daily consumption. Despite this importance, the agricultural sector often receives less investment and attention compared to other industries.
Sa kabila ng mga batas at programang agraryo ng gobyerno at ng desisyon ng Korte Suprema para ipamahagi ng Hacienda Luisita, bakit naglalagablab pa rin ang panawagan ng mga manggagawang bukid para sa tunay na reforma sa lupa at hustisya? Kompleto na raw ang pamamahagi sa Hacienda. Pero bakit tad ng bakod at bantay ang mahigit 1,000 ektaryang ng lupa?
To understand the struggles of Filipino farmers today, it is important to look at their history. During the Spanish colonial period, large farms called haciendas were owned by wealthy landowners, while many Filipino farmers worked as tenants. These farmers cultivated land they did not own and had to give part of their harvest to the landowners. This system created major inequalities in land ownership, although agrarian reform programs were later introduced. Land inequality still affects many farming communities today.
Agrarian reform in the Philippines has a strong legal basis. It's a constitutional right of the farmers because it is enshrined in the Constitution. The Congress has passed a law to ensure that the farmers can get the land. The agrarian reform covers private and agricultural lands and also public lands, which are to be distributed to the farmers. It's a simple process. In fact, at present, it takes only 3 months to distribute the land. It becomes more complicated and problematic when the landowners resist the implementation of the agrarian reform program in their lands or the coverage of the program. They filed several cases, criminal and civil cases. They terminate the farmers once their position is in favor of the agrarian reform, and they use the courts, the police, in order to harass the farmers. It should have been a glimmer of hope for the farmers to get the land, but basically it's a problematic situation where the landowners and the government is not determined to take or to implement the program.
One of the key challenge facing farmers is access land and ownership. Many farmers still do not fully own the land they cultivate. Agrarian reform programs were created to redistribute agricultural land to farmers and reduce inequality. While these programs have helped some communities, the process has been slow and complicated. Without secure land ownership, farmers may face uncertainty about their livelihood. They also struggle to invest in improving farmers because they do not have full control over the land they work on.
The Philippine agriculture sector is facing a crisis, primarily driven by extreme weather events, rising production costs, limited resources, and inefficiencies in logistics. The current El Niño, a recurring drought pattern, has heavily impacted rice, corn, and vegetable production, resulting in over PHP 9.89 billion in agricultural losses. This drought has reduced water availability for irrigation, a critical issue that is exacerbated by the lack of sufficient water infrastructure and storage, particularly affecting staple crops. Additionally, around 30% of harvested vegetables are lost due to inadequate post-harvest facilities and poor logistics, which prevents timely market access. The government has responded by establishing new post-harvest and irrigation facilities, though these measures require substantial investment and long-term maintenance to address the sector's infrastructure gaps. Aging farmers and a migration trend toward urban areas are also straining the sector, as younger generations increasingly seek careers outside agriculture. Consequently, farm sizes are shrinking due to land fragmentation, reducing economies of scale and making modernization more difficult. The government has been investing in programs to attract younger people back to farming and to improve productivity with climate-smart practices. Though this shift will require significant policy and community support, efforts are underway to stabilize food supply and prices through partnerships with neighboring countries for rice imports and by pushing for domestic food security initiatives. However, this approach remains challenging amid volatile global markets and rising import costs.
Another major challenge farmers face is economic instability. Farming requires many expenses, including seeds, fertilizers, irrigation, tools, and transportation. These costs can be very high, especially for small-scale farmers. At the same time, the prices farmers receive for their crops are often very low. The farm gate price, the amount of farmers receive directly from buyers, is usually much lower than the price consumers pay in markets. Because of this imbalance, farmers sometimes earn only a small profit after months of labor.
The role of middlemen. In many agricultural communities, farmers depend on middlemen to sell their crops. Middlemen serve as intermediaries who purchase products from farmers and transport them to larger markets or cities. While this system helps farmers distribute their produce, it can also reduce their earnings. Middlemen often set the buying price, which may be significantly lower than the final market price, resulting to farmers receiving only a small share of the profit generated from their harvest.
Bukod sa madalas samaan ng bagyo ang Pilipinas, isa ring nangungunang dahilan ng pagkasira ng pananim ay ang lumalalang climate change. Ano nga ba epekto nito sa sektor ng agrikultura ng ating bansa ngayon? Tinatayang 1.8 million metric tons ng pananim o mahigit kumulang 36 billion pesos ang nawalang kita sa sektor ng agrikultura sa taong 2018.
The Philippines is highly vulnerable to natural disasters such as typhoons, floods, and droughts. These environmental factors pose serious threats to agriculture. A single typhoon can destroy entire fields of crops, wiping out months of hard work and financial investment. Climate change has also made weather patterns more unpredictable, making it harder for farmers to plan their planting and harvesting seasons. Because farming relies on heavily stable environmental conditions, these changes can have devastating effects on farmers' livelihoods.
Today, Filipino farmers face additional challenges that affect the future of agriculture. One issue is the increasing importation of agricultural products, which can make it difficult for local farmers to compete in the market. Another concern is the aging population of farmers. Many young Filipino are choosing different career paths because farmer is often seen as financially unstable. Without enough young people entering the agricultural sector, the future of food production may face serious challenges.
The struggles of Filipino farmers do not only affect farming communities, they also affect food security and the daily lives of consumers across the country. When farmers experience low income or crop losses, agricultural production can decrease. This may lead to short shortage of certain food products or an increase in food prices in markets. Rice, for example, is the staple food of most Filipino households. If local farmers struggle to produce enough rice, the country may rely more on imported products to meet demand. Because of this, challenges faced by farmers are not only agricultural issues but also national concerns.
Dapat sana ang magsasaka dapat bigyan nila ng pansin na tulungan talaga nila kasi ito man talaga ang pinakakailangan talaga ng tao. Kahit nga hindi magsasaka, kahit nga kayo mula sa magsasaka ang kinukuhanan ng pagkain.
Filipino farmers are more than producers of food. They are the backbone of the nation. Every grain of rice, every vegetable, and every fruit we consume carries a story of their hard work and sacrifice. Despite their hardships, they continue to plant, cultivate, and harvest. Their resilience ensures that food reaches millions of Filipino households every day. Understanding their struggles reminds us that agriculture is not only about crops, it is about people, livelihoods, and the future of food in the Philippines.